Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NASTL, the North American Star Team League, here where we feature 8 of the top teams pitted against each other for the $10,000 prize pool. I do want to make a quick announcement that go check out NASL.tv. You can find out a lot of information about the NSQ, which is the next season qualifiers. For the NASL Season 3, there we will be featuring a very, very large prize pool. And, well, for this particular tournament, we will be doing a $1,000 prize pool, single elimination bracket. It'll start February 9th, and the top 8 qualify for the NASL Season 3. There we have a huge prize pool. And not only that, we have, let me go ahead and look at my sheet. It says money for every single match that you have in the group stages, which is really, really important. We also have final expenses paid. That means if you qualify for the NASL Grand Finals, you will have everything covered. And last but not least, we have a much more flexible schedule and a live format. So it'll be definitely awesome, and I can't wait to see what comes out of the NASL season qualifier. So check it out, NASL.tv, but let's go ahead and get into this game. We have FXO Boss against LZ, but FXO Boss is, of course, Choya, and we have a live Zerg in the top right-hand corner over here.
Yeah, PVZ on the map of Daybreak, and you know, Gretorp getting me all excited about the next season. NASL sounds so awesome. You guys are doing great things, and you know, you're a fool if you don't watch that thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there because you got some of the best players in the world duking it out in games, a lot of games every week, and every game matters. So cool.
Definitely, man. And right now, I just want to really quickly point out that Choya is coin flipping today. This is super risky to actually put down a Nexus like this and not scout out your opponent. You can be up against a 10 pool, you can be up against a 6 pool. There's so many different things that can actually beat this build. Now, normally we don't see stuff like that. This is probably the most standard 14 spawning pool. It is Daybreak, so rush distances are long. Therefore, it does make 10 pool and 6 pool really, really suboptimal. But just not scouting like this, it is super risky in and of itself, and you could be in a lot of trouble if you keep this up.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. I didn't notice you didn't scout until you mentioned it. You know, usually you're going to scout right away, especially on a 2-player map, when you can actually get to your opponent's base to see if there's any kind of 6-pull or 7-pull shenanigans. But I feel like if Choya was playing someone like Cats or something, this would probably not work. But as it stands, I mean, Live Zerg not doing any sort of crazy, you know, 6 or 7 pull. So it's going to work out for Choya, at least as of right now. Live Zerg can still, you know, transition a little bit into some more heavy gas intake and then go for some sort of 2-base all-in. But that definitely remains to be seen. As of right now, though, Choya looking pretty good, transferring some probes over to his national expansion. Already at 22 harvesters to his opponent's 17. So this game's playing out pretty nicely so far for Choya.
Yeah, definitely. Normally we don't see that at all. The Protoss is normally the one that is below in harvesters, having, what is that right now, a 7, 8, no, just 7 right now, 7 harvester lead at this point really helps out so much. It will put him way ahead in economy. And, you know, because of the supercharged economy, he can do a lot of different things. He can go to that tech. A lot of times we do see Stargate tech at this point, what looks like is, there's the 3rd gas. So yeah, it could still be a Stargate tech. I'm not sure exactly. He's building up a lot of gas, no early upgrades. So I'm almost expecting some sort of tech build rather than, let's say, a mass gateway build.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the Forge as well to see what he's making out of that. Interestingly enough, he's not starting out with a Zealot unless I'm completely blind and the Zealot's somewhere on the map, but I don't see a Zealot anywhere. That being said, though, Probe getting into the main base of Live Zerg, seeing the lack of a 2nd gas and not seeing any additional tech from Live Zerg. I don't know if he clicked on the 1st gas to see how much gas was actually taken, but yeah, it looks like it is a Stargate play. Nice Carl there. Mr. Gretorp also getting a sentry out of his gateway. So looks like he's probably going to open up with the Void Ray, send that straight to his opponent's 3rd and try to get that, I should say try to prevent that from completing, try to do as much aggression as he can with the Void Ray, and then we'll have to see what he follows that up with.
Yeah, I like exactly where Choya has gone with this. I mean, this is exactly how you play PVZ in this early game stage, and he's played pretty abusive. I mean, Stargate play is very abusive on a map like Daybreak, where the expansions are just so spread out, so you're punishing your opponents for early thirds, things like that. There can be some combination if you want to, where you do a gateway and Stargate type of opening. You just follow up with a heavy gateway count. And that might be something we can see. No upgrades just yet on the Forge, so I don't think there is any. Well, there it goes, just as I speak. So when that +1 timing finishes, the 160 seconds that it takes, and it will probably be chrono boosted as well, as soon as that hits, we probably will see some sort of push. But hold that thought, a lot of Banelings morphing outside the base of Choya.
Void Ray is going to get out here for Troya. That's another good thing about this Stargate play. It basically directly counters any sort of early aggression from your opponent, assuming you have decent force fields and don't let your opponent's units get into your base. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Void Ray trying to target down some Banelings, not a bad idea. Troya has to have perfect force fields here. He needs to not let the Banelings get off any detonations. They're exploding into the gateway though. No, taking down the Forge, gateway down to half health, and I'm a little bit scared for Troya right now. The Zergling's doing so much damage, trying to take down that gateway, trying to get inside the base of Troya, but Void Ray returning home along with the Phoenix. The Phoenix not going to be as effective because, well, picking up a Zergling, not the most cost-efficient thing you can do.
No, that was a big win right there for Choya. I mean, obviously blocking that off efficiently and killing basically all those Banelings and those Zerglings for, what is that, 150 plus 150, 300 minerals and a little bit of energy. The best possible situation for him. Let's look at the income tab. 50 harvesters to 49. They're on equal economy. Actually, Choya, if anything, is ahead just because he has the gas. So right there, Choya just has a gigantic lead now, going out with Void Rays and Phoenixes, and this can do a lot of damage looking at how receded the creep is.
Yeah, and also something interesting here, Troya, instead of rebuilding just one forge, he's rebuilding two. So he's going to have two forges on the field, kind of like a Terran-esque kind of play here. Going to go for double upgrades at the same time, though. 3 Phoenix and a Void Ray proceeding over to the natural third of Livezerg. Going to try to do some harassment here, but there is a Spore Color that just completed. So Livezerg should be fine in that regard. Troya looking around for Overlords, finds one in the main base, and going to take that one out. And Livezerg has to be pretty proactive about trying to keep his Overlords safe, get them all huddled around a Spore Color as if it's a campfire or something, and making sure to stay away from those Phoenixes and Void Rays.
Yep, and it looks like he has blown down his wall back at the base, so he is looking to do something with that. I would assume that he wants to actually push and have some sort of continuation attack. You can see the Void Rays and the Phoenixes are picking off so many queens. Every single queen, it looks like, is going down. And that's just spelling disaster for the Zerg player.
Yeah, Livezerg not as prepared as he could be right now. I mean, I guess he did invest a lot in that early aggression, but could have 2 or 3 more Spore Callers here. 2 queens coming down from the third, it looks like, in the natural expansion. The Phoenixes and Void Ray gonna get out of there. 7 Hydras in production, and it looks like Troya has halted the Phoenix production out of that Stargate, instead favoring, I guess, a Nexus, putting that down at his third, also getting an Observer and +1 attack. Also not utilizing that second Forge. Wow, as I say that, just now starting that +1 ground. But yeah, pretty interesting play from Troya. I'm wondering where he goes from here. Probably going to be a little bit defensive, considering he's putting down that natural third, adding on 3 gateways there to try to wall that off. And this may transition into a later game here. Looks like Livezerg might go for some sort of aggression here, but again, Hydra's off creep, not so good.
No, and going a Hydra force in general is really risky to do, just because they can be hard countered, especially on a map like Daybreak, where the positions are so spread out. Going to your opponent's base takes a very long time, so obviously it gives them more time to actually react to the Hydras. So I'm not sure if I love this completely, but I like the fact that he's going to use these pretty early, because that's what he needs to do. I mean, mitigate the amount of time that your opponent can actually... Well, Phoenixes and Hydras are just going to say hi to each other. Not going to do any return fire, but yeah, I mean, just be able to catch your opponent off guard as fast as possible while there's no Colossus or potential Colossus out in the field, and while the arm composition is mainly just gateway units, and Hydras tear apart gateway units.
Yes, they do. You are right on there, Gretorp. Blink on the way. Colossi Den just finished, or the Robotics Bay, whatever you want to call it. No Colossi in production just yet, even though Troya has plenty of minerals, plenty of gas to do, so there we go. 1 Colossi on the way. And the thing with Hydras, I mean, late game, when you have a 200 army and you got, what, is that, it's 17 Hydras there, honestly, at that point, it just takes up supply, and that's no good at all for the Zerg player, especially when your opponent has Colossi. Sure, they'll die really fast, but you know it's kind of ridiculous. You're just throwing away free Hydras. So
Exactly.
it just gets tough as the game goes later. Hydras get more and more worthless, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and if I'm the Protoss, I have an observer directly over those Hydralisks, or at least seeing them. My thought process is, wow, that is a lot of Hydralisks. I'm just going to sit back, wait until I get Colossus push out, and you have way too much supply. Think if all those Hydras were actually something like Corruptors, then I have to be scared of going something like Colossus. But because I know that he has so much supply tied up in there, and the army sizes normally range, you know, somewhere around 100 to 120 supply at 200, or 100 to, let's say, 130 supply. Somewhere around there, and you know 40 supply or 30 supply is being taken from the Hydras, just punish that and go mass Colossus, and then you have a really, really nice endgame fight.
There's honestly not a better feeling if you have Colossi on the field and you know your opponent has, you know, all that supply worth of Hydras. Like, you feel invincible. What are they going to do if you have Colossi in your army? But that being said, Troya going to be taking up fourth, has some Stalkers on the field to reinforce this lone Colossi in looks like about 7 sentries full of energy there. Also has an Immortal and a couple Zealots mixed in. But Troy looks like he's going to do some aggression here. Only has 1 Colossi though in this army. That makes me a little bit worried. I'd rather him have 2 or 3, but I guess just trying to poke forward, trying to exploit Livezerg right now, because he's building Banelings and they're not yet done. Troya going to be engaging here. Infestor coming forward, bungling the Stalkers, but Force Field's going down. Overlords faking drops overhead, and this is a very awkward situation for Livezerg. Colossus doing so much damage, trying to target down the Hydras, I would imagine. The Banelings getting through, exploding into a bunch of Stalkers and Immortals. Troya losing a lot more than he would like right here. 1 more Colossi coming from the natural expansion to reinforce, and it looks like Troya will get the better end of this fight, but you know, Gretorp, I think he lost a little bit more than he would have wanted. That's not to say he's not ahead. I feel like he's still ahead in this game, but you know, he didn't handle that the best, I guess.
You can look, he sacked so many Overlords. He's right now in the red. GG comes out from Livezerg. And that's going to do it. So Choya will take game number 3. And I have to say that I'm the same way. I think he could have waited off a little bit, but I guess he just recognized, identified the timing where he can go and push. He saw his opponent wasn't really at the stage where he can deal with any sort of attack. You look at the upgrades, 2-1 for the Protoss, only 1-0 for the Zerg. I mean, that just gives you a huge advantage. And I guess he just said, let me go ahead and pull the trigger. He did it, and it was very successful.
I mean, he was far enough ahead considering his opponent tried for that Baneling bust, which was, you know, a lot of investment with that economy, and also went for those Hydras. It was a little bit surprising. Usually when you take a fourth as a Protoss player and a third, you're not necessarily going to try to play as aggressively as you would have if you're, on 2 bases and trying to go for the win. Because, like, if you get a fourth down and you get it saturated, you're fine. You just have to defend it, and you can get like an unbeatable death ball. But Troya just hitting before those Banelings could pop. You know, Livezerg had some Infestors. They weren't able to do that much damage. And, you know, he won that pretty convincingly.
Yep. So congratulations to Choya and FXO. They're up 2-1. We're going to go into game number 4 in a little bit. Everybody stay tuned. You are watching the NASTL.